All right.
All right, we want to welcome everyone to the Teal Shirt Report podcast. 22 is one of my favorite numbers, Joe, and this is 22A. We did a 22 yesterday, but we've got a
Okay.
22. We got a 22A today, and we've got New York Joe with us. He's got some of his good friends in the background. Joe knows a lot of interesting characters, isn't that right, Joe?
Yeah, I got Daryl in from Idaho, and I got Guido in from New York.
Guido, yeah.
Couple of gangster wannabes.
Do they know Mr. Franchese?
Yeah, they know one knows horses and the other one knows poker. So a couple of degenerate gamblers, which
I got you.
I once in a while I've been known to hang out with them.
I think the coffee boy's got the coffee ready. Hold on, Joe. Here we
Yeah,
go.
get that coffee rolling. All right.
Okay, Joe, it's you and me on the Teal Shirt Report podcast. I know you love football, Joe. And we're going to talk college basketball, football, and probably the whole gamut, whatever you want to talk about today, Joe.
Well, tomorrow's the day, right? Starts up tomorrow, the free agency.
Oh, yeah. Well, now, I'm going to stop the music for a minute and tell you that there's been some interesting things happening from the Jaguars' perspective. It looks like Etienne is gone. Devin Lloyd is gone. I had forgotten this guy was a free agent. Monteric Brown, better known as, or AKA Buster Brown, who I think got a lot of playing time, and he was like a 7th-round pick 4 years ago. But now this guy's been in the league 4 years. He's going to be a free agent, but I think the Jaguars may actually make a big offer and re-sign him, I'm thinking.
So you pretty much think that ETM and Lloyd, they're gone. They're not going to be able to re-sign them, right?
I think so. The Jags, apparently, according to our contributor and correspondent, John Gaylor, he said the Jags have been redoing some of the deals of current players, and they've got a little bit more space under the cap now, opposed to being over the cap.
Yeah, they're up against it, I saw, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think Etienne has probably got his mind made up that he's going to Kansas City. I think there was maybe 2 or 3 other teams mentioned with Etienne. What are you hearing, Joe?
I saw Denver and Kansas City.
Okay.
But I've also, now this was a little less, but this was earlier in the week. There was a rumor about New Orleans.
Yeah, I think I might have seen the Saints in one of the notes. That now that you mention that, Etienne is a back that I would love to keep, opposed to keeping Devin Lloyd, because Etienne can do so many things. Catch the ball out of the backfield. He's got some speed. He's got a little bit of wiggle. If he's healthy,
I wouldn't kick him out. It'd be a nice addition to the Saints, but I don't know, man. I don't know. He's going to come at a high price tag.
I think if you got a decent offensive line, I think he can get 1,000 yards or more.
Absolutely.
And he's going to catch some. He's a good receiving back, receiving the football out of the backfield too.
Absolutely. Devin Lloyd, I don't know where he's, he's going to get some big money.
Lloyd is an interesting subject where he was with the Jaguars for 4 years. They did not exercise the 5th-year option like they did with Etienne, because Etienne's been in Jacksonville now for 5 years. He played through his 5th-year option. He got his 5th-year option the same time Trevor Lawrence did, and then I think briefly before that or after that, Trevor Lawrence got the big quarterback contract.
Right.
We'll call it the big quarterback contract, because if a quarterback gets re-signed, it's usually for just mega money, Joe.
Yeah. Well, with Devin Lloyd, I mean, he wasn't that much for the first few years. And then all of a sudden this past year, he really kicked it in and he made the Pro Bowl and got, I think, all pro honors, second team. And so now, he picked the right time to do it, because now he's going to get that big contract from somebody.
Yeah. I kept hearing with Devin Lloyd, And this worries me if I were to sign Devin Lloyd. I keep hearing with him, he's got to be in the right system, got to have that good coaching. You need good coaching, but if you're in the right scheme, that helps. But my God, Joe, for all that money, I mean, a good football player or even a very, very good or great football player, they're basically a very good football player either way. In my mind,
but someone's going to overpay for him. They're going to think that he's another Parsons, and that's what they're looking for. So but good for him. He's going to get the money. Good for him.
He's not. I mean, he's not a guy that's going to rush the quarterback and get a ton of sacks. Now, this year, you're not going to see a linebacker have a year every year where he gets like 5 interceptions and 2 pick sixes.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's what happened. I mean,
but they're gonna sign him based on the potential of doing that again.
Yeah, I think when you talk about 2 pick sixes, I mean, and then maybe an interception at a key time, you're talking about a swing of maybe 2 or 3 wins the Jaguars got opposed to not getting, perhaps.
Yeah.
So that's where we are with. I think ETN and Devin Lloyd are gone. I think you're absolutely right, Joe. I've been saying it. Devin Lloyd will get signed probably by a major market team, or maybe a team that's got a quarterback on a rookie deal where they can afford to pay or overpay for him in this case.
I totally agree with everything you said. For that's quite the change, Scott. Usually I don't agree with everything you say, but I did on that one. So
I know. Yeah.
I am excited about the free agent period kicking off and stuff like that, and see where the chips fall. Everything's exciting. Although the Jags, without that first round draft choice this year, there's actually 5 teams that have 2 first round draft choices this year.
And, Travis Hunter's got to be healthy, coming back for year number 2. He missed a lot of games in his rookie season.
Half the season pretty much he missed, and they couldn't figure out what to do with him, and then he got hurt, and so he's got to, you basically paid 2 first round picks for him, so he's got to bring it to the table next year. He's got to be a difference maker.
Well, and then there's people talking about there's some people that have an opinion. I'd say half the people or more may have an opinion he may play cornerback all the time and then come in and be your 3rd or 4th wide receiver, but be able to make some big plays on offense. Could you see it like that, Joe, perhaps, with Travis?
I'd like to see it. That seems to be what they're going to be talking about, and I wouldn't mind him playing cornerback, and I'd like to see him on the punt returns like Deion Sanders.
Well, there you go. But again, you got to keep the guy healthy, too. You're talking about him playing a lot of football. So I don't think, I just don't think he could be both ways. He's not going to be a both-way player all the time, but he may be a specialist on offense, being the 3rd or 4th wide receiver, and then more of a starter on defense. Or it was kind of like vice versa last year. The plan was for him to be a wide receiver, but, probably coming in red zone type situations when he played defense.
Yeah, I'd like to see him more on the special teams and the punt returns than on the offensive side. They're all right. They're all right at wide receiver. I'd like to see him do like what Shaheed did for Seattle and New Orleans last year. He was a game changer. A couple of them returns for the touchdown, the punt return against the Rams, and the kickoff return against the 49ers in the playoffs. I mean, that was different makers for the whole game.
Right. So here's another thing, Joe, that we've been hearing about on social media. And a lot of times you can't trust social media, and then there's articles that, guys
when can
writing.
Scott, tell me, when can you trust them? When can you trust social media?
Well, there's a couple of 3 maybe. Like our correspondent contributor John Gaylor is usually on the money, not 100% of the time, but he's 9 out of 10 times probably. But I'll point something out. He'll say, "No, that's not true," because we both research these things, and even our executive producer JC, of course, Buffalo Bills fan, as you know.
Yeah, hey, JC, Thursday nights in the pub.
That's right. This is what I'm concerned. And yes, that's right. We'll make sure we mention In the Pub with JC live from LakeUpalaHits.com on Thursday nights. Mad Max and the Mad Max Mix.
Yeah, don't forget about Mad Max on Wednesdays. Yep,
Mad
that's
Max
right.
on Wednesday nights, and we've got the sponsors on the scroll, Salsa Realty and Capital. We're also sponsored by the MadMaxMix.weebly.com. And Max's Wednesday night request show. And Mad Max plays a lot of Leonard Skinner, a lot of the, he plays Jefferson Airplane and the White Rabbit. I know those are from, a lot of songs from our era going back.
Mad Max is wise beyond his years.
And Neil Sedaka passed away. You remember him?
Yeah, sure. Breaking up is hard to do.
Well, I think my favorite song by Neil Sedaka was another one called Bad Blood. You remember Bad Blood?
Yes.
That was it.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we'll tell everybody we're not gonna talk a lot of music on this podcast, at least this episode. But people can go to our website at bigjreport.com, scroll the Neighbors 2 section for the concerts going on and coming up. But Joe, I did want to also mention this thing with Brian Thomas Jr. Some of the rumors on social media have the Jaguars might be shopping, might trade him. I just can't understand that.
I don't. Yeah, you said that a couple of weeks ago, and I just don't see the reasoning for it, and I don't see why they would want to be doing that. That's I just don't see it.
I don't like it. I mean, he had a sophomore year, but the rookie year was very, very good. Last year was good, but he missed some games with injuries too.
He caught a little bit of an attitude problem for a while, like Trevor Lawrence did. Then he straightened himself out. Yeah. I just don't, unless they could get a first-round pick for him, you can't trade him, and I don't see him getting a first-round pick for him.
There was something mentioned on Twitter, or now known as the X, that somebody said, well, the Jags are shopping him around and they would take 2 first-round picks. I probably would trade him at that point, but I'm not sure anybody's going to offer that.
Nobody's offering the 2 first-round picks for a wide receiver.
There's people that say anything. I mean, somebody said something about 2 first-round picks plus getting the player. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's so not for a wide receiver. Justin Jefferson wouldn't even get 2 first-round picks.
I would say this in regard to Brian Thomas Jr. He had a really good rookie year. Last year had some issues, some injury issues, but even more so early in the year, we saw, a 2 or 3 drop passes. Maybe not willingness to complete routes going across the middle, which, it's tough going across the middle when there's a guy getting ready to take your head off, But those are the things he's got to work on, completing the routes across the middle with no fear. And hanging on to the football. When they brought Jacoby, what's the kid's name? Jacoby Myers. They brought him in, a polished professional wide receiver. I think he dropped only 1 pass his whole time with the Jaguars, I believe.
Oh yeah, that's what yes, you were mentioning that a couple of weeks ago. I did research that, and you were right on the money with that, Scott.
As far as Brian Thomas Jr., I'll just say this: why I do not want to have the reason why I do not want the Jaguars to trade Brian Thomas Jr. It took the Jaguars a long time, really, to find the number 1 guy. A long time.
Yeah.
So, Joe, with all that being said,
listen, let me ask you a question here, Scott.
Sure.
The Oakland Raiders just traded Max Crosby for a couple of first-round draft choices, and they have the first pick in the draft. The New York Jets have the second pick in the draft, and they're desperate for a quarterback. Yeah. With the Raiders, with all the draft capital that they had, and with the big quarterback draft that's going to be coming next year, do you get rid of that first-round pick to the Jets for the second pick and next year's first and a whole other, treasure trove of draft choices and wait for next year's draft?
I guess it depends. It depends on if you're going to draft a quarterback this year or next year. Right.
Well, I guess it's got to, got to be in love with Mendoza, but there's a lot. You got the guy from Oregon next year. You got Arch Manning. You got the kid from Ohio State. The kid from South Carolina. The kid from LSU, Levitt. I mean, there'd be about, they said 5, 6 quarterbacks going to go in the first round next year.
I think Arch Manning could be a very good pro football quarterback, but I think he might be the type of guy, once he gets to the NFL, it might take him 2 or 3 years, and then he'll probably be fine. Kind of like Peyton, actually. Peyton took at least, his first year was not very good with the Colts, I remember.
Yeah, I like Archie.
You like Arch, okay. I got you.
No, I like Archie, the grandpa.
Archie Manning. Yeah. He I don't think he never had a winning season in New Orleans, though. He
you look at the old clips, Scott, and boy, did that guy, he took a beating.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's still walking.
He took more hits than Namath did, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
So, Joe, the draft, I guess the NFL draft is what, late April, right?
Yeah, the free agency period is going to kick in. I believe it starts up tomorrow to be with the where you're allowed to talk to them and make little deals, and I guess in a week you can start signing them. But that's going to take place before. That'll kind of give you an idea of how it's going to shake out in the draft, because whoever you sign in free agency, you're going to go in another direction. Whoever you didn't pick up or whatever position you didn't cover, you'll get them in the. You pick that up in the draft. So
because the March free agent period, which some people have nicknamed it free agent frenzy, it kind of sets a table for the draft in March, going toward April.
Exactly.
So Joe,
exactly.
We'll see what happens. Do you have any free agents that the Saints you think may go after?
That we're losing a couple of mainstays with the history of the Saints. With Cam Jordan as a free agent, Mario Davis is one, Tyson Hill, and then Avante Taylor, which he's third, fourth year. But Tyson Hill has a long history. Cam Jordan is an all-time great, and Mario Davis too. So they may be losing all of those, and that's just you got to change with the times, but boy, it's going to be hard to say goodbye to those old guys.
Well, let me ask you this: who's the Saints quarterback next year?
Oh, Tyler Shuff.
Okay,
he's ready. The second round draft pick this year. He turned it on. He went 5-3 second half of the season. The Saints got their quarterback now, and the question's going to be Alvin Kamara restructured his contract. I don't think he's going to be around. I mean, maybe this year, but 50-50. They're going to go in another direction and get a little younger. Get a couple defensive pieces. They had, I don't know if you knew this or not, Scott, but the Saints got voted by the general managers in the NFL as having the best draft class from last year.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So
let me ask you this: is when Bo Nix gets healthy, is Denver right at the top of the AFC again?
Boy, I'll tell you what, that's going to be an interesting division with Denver and Kansas City and the Chargers.
Yeah.
So I don't know that you put Denver up there right off the bat. You're gonna, Mahomes is going to be a little mad.
Something to prove.
Yeah, and
they're all mad. I mean, the Buffalo quarterbacks got to be mad. They got knocked out of the playoffs, and the team that knocked them out, their quarterback got hurt, and then they didn't do too well after that. So it's injuries are one of the biggest things in the NFL.
Well, I see that Buffalo just picked up DJ Moore from the Chicago Bears to improve their wide receivers. The Chargers picked up Mike McDaniel, the ex-coach of the Dolphins, to be their offensive coordinator. So the things are changing for the better with Josh Allen and Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Well, JC, our executive producer, he really liked Mike McDaniel to even perhaps be Buffalo's head coach.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Well, JC, he is a Buffalo fan, and I don't know why he would want. Mike McDaniels is not a Buffalo kind of guy. You
Okay.
know,
Okay.
he's just not. He's a South Florida, South Beach kind of guy, or a Chargers kind of L.A. fancy kind of guy. He's not a Buffalo chicken
Okay.
wing eating kind of coach. You know,
Okay.
I don't see that. JC, come on, stick with the music, JC. If you're going to be talking about that stuff,
Yeah, JC in the pub.
right? Thursday nights.
Live on Thursday nights. That's right. In the pub with JC on Thursday nights at LakeUpallahits.com. LakeUpallahits.com. And I'm going to move over to, let's move to some basketball, Joe. Can you hear me okay?
Sounds good.
I think we're going to move to some basketball. I think you and I, before we started the interview, we're both talking about, amazingly enough, we're talking about the Florida Gators, who I'm still in shock over how they've blown teams out. For instance, a couple of weeks back, they beat Arkansas 111-77. They blew out Texas A&M, blew out Georgia, and they've beaten Kentucky the last two times very, convincingly.
Yeah, they played them yesterday. They won by about 15 points or so. The Gators are impressive. They already had the front court is second to none in the country. It was the back court that was a little worried, and those guys seem to be pulling it together the second half of the season. I look for the Gators to get to the Final Four.
Well, I mean, they won it all last year, so you would think, Elite Eight, Final Four. Yeah, I mean, it'd be disappointing if the Gators didn't at least make it to the Elite Eight, I would think.
I'm going out on a limb and saying I'd be disappointed if they don't make it to the Final Four.
Oh, there you go.
What do you think about that, Scott?
Yeah, well, I mean, they got a good team. Now, what do you think about Coach Todd Golden? Our team's going to come. Our school's going to come gunning for him like Kansas, Kentucky, trying to hire the guy?
Well, I think Florida can compete when it comes to salaries with all these other schools. So I don't really think you got to worry too much right now. Where's he going to go that's better than Florida? There's a defending national champions.
That's true.
Huh?
Well, Kansas is a basketball school. That kind of scares me a little bit. I know they can pony up the money, I'm sure.
I don't think they can pony up as much money as the Gators can nowadays.
Well, you might be right. Hey, one thing I was going to say, NCAA basketball tournament will be coming up after the conference tournaments. I asked John Gaylor in the chat, I said, man, there could be as many as 7 to 10 teams from the SEC making the tournament. Gaylor said he thinks 9, depending on the SEC tournament. Joe, there's still 68 teams overall in the tournament now with the play-in games?
That's correct. Listen, the SEC will be well represented. And it will depend on how things shake out in this tournament. If one of the upper echelon teams loses and, somebody makes a run and wins the title that wasn't expected. So, it's probably somewhere in the 8, 9, 10 category.
And then all the smaller conferences get at least one team in, or in some cases 2 teams, depending on, who wins the conference tournament. But this is the amazing thing to me when you talk about Florida, Joe. I mean, 25-6 is a really great record, but the more impressive record to me is 16-2 in the SEC.
Mm-hmm. That is very impressive in the SEC.
That's what I would think.
So, yeah, I'm liking it. Listen, I'm liking the Gators. I think they're going to be, like I said, I think they're going to the Final Four. The other team that I like from the SEC is I like Alabama. Okay. That's a guard-dominated team, and when you get into the tournament, you got to have that guard play.
Yeah, and Bama's right. I think Bama's finished second in the conference. Let me see here. Florida was 16.
Well, they've gone on They've gone on a streak of about 8 or 9 in a row, unless they just lost in the last day or so. But
Alabama is finished 13-5 in the conference. Very impressive, 23-8 overall.
Okay.
Here's the thing: Florida just beat Arkansas so badly, and Arkansas had a great team, 23-8, and they were 13-5, kind of tied for second with Alabama.
Yeah, they Arkansas's having some problems shooting the ball. I checked that Gator game out, and that was a total domination by the Gators.
Vanderbilt will be in the tournament. They're 24-7, 11-7 in the conference. Tennessee 21-10, 11-7 in the conference. Texas A&M will be in the NCAA tournament at 11-7. Then you got Georgia 10-8, but man, they won 22 games overall, and they'll be in the tournament too, I believe.
Probably, unless something happens in the conference tournament and they get knocked out in the first. They're probably going to have to win at least one game in the conference tournament.
But I'm assuming Kentucky gets in at 19-12 and 10-8 in the conference. But then after that, Missouri probably will get in at 10-8 in the conference, 20-11 overall. But then you got to kind of draw a line.
Missouri is one of the teams that beat Florida, so they've got a nice win on their resume.
Okay. Texas may not get in. They're 18-13, 9-9 in the conference, but I've been wrong before. So those are kind of like the upper. That's kind of like the upper half of the SEC. Everybody else after that probably not get in. I would guess. John Gaylor thinks as many as 9 teams to get in. It could be between 7 and 10, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably 8, 9, or 10, depending on how the conference shakes out. And next Sunday is Selection Sunday, so we're going to know in a week.
That's right. You and I may get together, right after that.
That's what I'm thinking.
Take a look at the brackets. But, Joe, the thing is now, because of football, you got bigger conferences. So these conferences that are larger with more teams, consequently, they're going to get more teams in the tournament now.
Absolutely. The smaller conferences are down. They're barely going to get the one team in, and it's just that NIL has definitely separated the top teams from the lower teams, and there's not going to be any more St. Peter's. There's going to or FAU and stuff like that are going to make it to the Final Four. Those days are gone. The 16 beating the 1 seed's not going to happen anymore.
No more dunk cities and all that.
Nope. Those days are gone because these guys are getting paid and they're going where the money's at, and the top teams are stocked.
So you're talking about, Joe, you kind of mentioned in the SEC you like Florida and also Alabama, but who do you like from the other conferences out there? Because there's some other good teams out there. UConn is pretty good, and who else?
Yeah, you gotta like UConn. You gotta like Michigan. I was very impressed by Michigan last week when they beat Illinois. I think they might be the favorite, and I was also very impressed by Arizona going into Houston and beating Houston pretty handily. So, unfortunately, it seems like I gotta go with the favorites, but those are the teams that are playing. I like the Gators. I like Michigan. I like Arizona, and I like Connecticut.
So you got Arizona maybe as a Final Four, Final 8 team?
Yeah. Those are my Final Four. I mean, I don't know who's going to be what seeding, but those are my 4 best teams in the country right now. The Gators, Connecticut, Michigan, and Arizona.
And Alabama maybe gets to
with Alabama as a dark horse.
Okay, that's fair enough, Joe. Well, I think that about wrap it up for the Teal Shirt Report podcast. I did want to mention some number 22s, Joe, that I did on the last podcast. John Drew played for the Atlanta Hawks, passed away recently, had some difficult times, and I think he was the first NBA player ever banned for using drugs years ago.
Yep, I remember that. I didn't know about that. Yeah.
I had his jersey when I was a kid. Me and some other guys went down and made some jerseys up of our favorite player. Pete Maravich was really my favorite player. But then after Pete got traded to New Orleans, I kind of adopted John Drew, who had such a sweet shot, number 22 for the Atlanta Hawks years ago.
Yeah, I remember John Drew, sure.
Other number 22s, running back Emmitt Smith of the Florida Gators, and he wore 22 with Dallas.
Yep.
Doug Flutie wore number 22 with Boston College. And And Jerry Jones, a cornerback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think moving into his third year, is a guy that's always around the football, and he wears number 22 out of Florida State. He was a third-round pick.
Yeah, you had to get the Jacksonville Jaguar guy in there. I hear you.
Well,
on
we
that,
had
Scott.
to. Yeah, it's a Teal Shirt Report podcast, Joe. You know?
Well, listen, before we finish up, Scott, I'd like to turn this to a serious note for a second.
Okay, sure.
I'm sure that you are familiar with Paul Harvey, that world famous commentator. You know who Paul Harvey is? You know, Good Day.
Page
Paul
3.
Harvey. Yep, exactly.
Page 3?
Well,
yeah.
I just came across something in the last couple days from 1965. 1965, Paul Harvey came out with a little speech, I guess you'd call it, and it's called "If I Were the Devil." And I would highly recommend everybody looking this up on YouTube. From 1965, Paul Harvey, "If I Was the Devil," and he brings it into play where it is so relevant and everyday today's. Of what he said back then is happening right now today. It's unbelievable. It's a 3-minute listen. I recommend it to everybody.
Cool.
"If I Were the Devil" by Paul Harvey.
Hey, Joe, is it getting warm your way in New Orleans? Because it's like 84. It's supposed to get up to 84 in Jacksonville today on Sunday, March the 8th.
Listen, let me tell you something, Scott. It's always chill here in New Orleans, baby.
You got your adult beverage this morning, Joe?
No, not yet. Not yet. I was actually wanted to make sure I got that Paul Harvey in there. I think everybody should listen, and that's highly recommended by me. I do want to remind folks to tune in on Thursday night for JC's in the Pub, and Wednesday night for Mad Max's Request Show, because they're great guys and they do a great job.
Yeah, and I went to school with Larry Saucer, who has a real estate company out in Lake City, and of course he sells homes in Jacksonville, Lake City, Live Oak, Mayo, where Kerwood Bell's from, Live Oak, Lake City, Gainesville, Jacksonville, Saucer Realty and Capital. We got all our sponsors like on the scroll at the bottom of the page.
Yep, sure do.
Joe, we appreciate you taking the time with us. When did Paul Harvey do that segment called The Devil? What year was that?
1965.
And I think
you go to YouTube and you say, just Google, just punch in "If I Were the Devil," it will come up with a 3-minute take from Paul Harvey.
Is Paul Harvey's son still doing the show or not?
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
Paul
a good.
Harvey's
I don't.
I think Paul Harvey's son took over for a while after Paul Harvey.
I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes people get Paul Harvey mixed up with Billy Graham, and Billy Graham's son is doing stuff. Franklin Graham.
I got you. Yeah. Well, Joe, we appreciate you joining us, man. You gave a great synopsis of probably some of the best college basketball teams as we're getting ready to move into March Madness here in just a few days.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's one of my favorite times of year.
I know you love that bracketology, Joe, and
I can't get enough of it, Scott.
We'll be talking about the tournament. Hopefully, the Florida Gators can go at least Final Four would be very nice. And the Gators have had a great year, 25-6 and 16-2 in the SEC. But Joe, it's great to win for the Florida Gators. It's great to win the SEC regular season championship.
Yeah, well, of course it is.
Yeah, that's great. You got any more dark horses for the tournament, by the way?
I'll let you know next week. I don't want to give all my stuff away right now, Scott.
Okay, Joe.
Got to keep you in suspense.
Hey, I do not blame you, Joe. I really don't.
All right.
We're going to get on out of here.
Take care, Scott. We'll see you next week.
Joe, thanks for coming in, Joe. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
You got it, Scott. Take care. Best of luck. All right.
Thank you, sir. Episode show number 22A of the Teal Shirt Report podcast. I almost called him Uncle Joe. No, that's New York Joe. New York Joe is really, I'd say, nearly an expert at college basketball. So I think a lot of what he says it's pretty close to the truth in college basketball. And Joe's great with the NFL too. We want to thank New York Joe for joining us here on the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Want to thank my executive producer, JC. Also, Alex Nunnery. Alex has got a lot of good videos up on the channel. We're going to be adding his Sporting Jacksonville video. They had a big crowd at UNF on Saturday night, March the 7th, and we're going to be posting Alex's report from the Sporting Jacksonville game on Saturday night, March the 7th. So check that out on the channel. The best way to find all of our content is subscribe to the channel. Please do. Special thanks to our executive producer, JC, also Alex Nunnery, and John Gaylor, our contributor and correspondent. Thank all of you guys for helping us out. Episode show number 22A, 35 minutes in. I want to thank Joe for joining us, New York Joe, really adding something to the episode. You guys have a great day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm Scott, your host, and I am absolutely out. Have a great day. Warming up in Jacksonville. High 84. Low tonight, maybe 63. We'll see some clouds move in, but clearing at times. And hey, we've got about a 30% chance of rain on March the 8th in the Jacksonville, Florida area. You guys have a great day. Thank you for listening. We've got listeners in Florida, Georgia, that pocket of southeast Alabama. We're nationwide and worldwide on the Teal Shirt Report podcast. You folks in Atlanta that listen, thank you for tuning in. Up in Michigan, Tennessee, Louisiana, where Joe is, out in New Orleans, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. Thank you guys for listening to the Teal Shirt Report podcast. I'm your host, Scott, and I am out. Episode show number 22A. You guys have a great day.